I got a feeling I'm in trouble when I look at you. 'Cause once I do it, yeah, I know I'll never get enough. I never get enough.
Well, for me, I'd been there quite a bit growing up because I grew up in England. But then, as an adult, I would go for work, but only for a few days here and there. So to be able to be a resident of sorts for like 4 months, to live and breathe as a local, and say that I'm getting to go to work in these places that I grew up going through as a museum or as a ballet, or a restaurant that is world renowned, and you actually get to sit in it and record a show. That changed my relationship with Paris, and I feel so lucky that now it's going to be almost impossible to go back and not be reminiscing about what it was like to film there. So it's I've created a new love affair with Paris.
I was always a bit of a Francophile. I took French when I was a kid for a long time, and I finally went there when I was 19, sort of backpacking around Europe, and I just fell in love with the city, and I would go back, every year I could, just to spend time there. Eventually, I got an apartment for a number of months and took language classes and thinking about the show a number of years before I wrote it, and thinking about what it'd be like, to have run into the same kind of experiences this character might run into, and really kind of live there rather than visit. So yeah, I've been always sort of spending quite a bit of time there.
Oh my gosh, love that question. I had never been to Paris before in my life. It was one of those cities that I knew I wanted to go to, but I wanted to either go with the love of my life or sometime, but Madeline was the first book that I ever memorized as a kid when I was little, and I'd always loved just Paris, Parisian food, macarons, like everything, and the fashion, and had been so fascinated with it. And I didn't even realize until I got there that so many of the images and locations even that we filmed on were ones that were, it's exactly when Mindy talks about how she just was obsessed with Paris growing up. I think I was obsessed with it too, but didn't even recognize it until I was there, and it felt like meeting a long lost sister, but it was a city. I mean, Mindy's such a great friend. I think she's the kind of friend that I would want and I aspire to be. I think she's 100%, you can tell her any problem. Emily, she's there for Emily 100%, but she also keeps it real. And she also because she wants Emily to be her best and be happiest, she's able to tell her when maybe Emily is not doing something right, or what her opinions about stuff. I adore Mindy, and I just really love that friendship comes very effortlessly to her. Gosh, 100% everything except for the very core of it, which is I'm actually really excited. I've found that both mediums kind of when you really get into the craft of each of them, they kind of help and serve each other. But the main thing is that I've done thousands upon thousands of live performances now, and it's always just that one, everyone who's present there, it's live theater. And on Broadway, we do 8 shows a week and have one day off, and usually go for 6 months to a year without any sort of break. And so it was a totally different schedule, and also just being up close versus also, I'm used to in anything that's comedic, I had to get used to not getting a response right away, because in theater, we can guess what kind of audience we have, or what's working and what's not, but all of the rehearsal and work that goes into building these characters and these scenes happen all within a day. And I remember me and Lily, sometimes we would be, our scenes are so bantery and so fast and fun, and we get to the end of the day and be like, oh, that's the last time we ever get to do it? What? Like, I'm so used to being able to just deepen it and keep going. So I think stamina wise, it was a lot easier than doing a show 8 times a week.
Well, the idea I've had for a long time, and so I think by the time I wrote it, it was it was recently, and I think social media really, informed the story in a way that it became part of what she does, and also I think becomes a visual diary of her time in Paris. Yes, I think she'd love her and admire her, completely, and sort of be a little jealous of the experience she's having in Paris.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, there were some that I put on that I was like, oh my God, like the all reptile one. It used to be a long trench coat, and she was like, we should just cut it because I like your legs. And then they found these boots, and I was like, I can't pull off an all reptile look. We put it on, and we were like, Mindy, great. But I mean, the suits were amazing too. I was really into a suit phase, and it kind of like trickled into Mindy. I think what's fun is that because Darren and the writers, you know, me, Lily coming from the film world, and me coming from the theater world, we're very used to learning our lines exactly as they are and then making them our own. And every time we would do a couple takes of that, and then eventually they would kind of let us play. And I kind of loved it so much because they made it so clear who Mindy was to me, so I was so comfortable and kind of spitting out stuff. So a lot of the fun little buttons and funny moments in the show between them were things that I either improv or we just kept on going. They're just like, keep going. My favorite one being when I first meet Gabrielle, and he's the chef. We realize he's the chef, and he walks away and he says, "Bon appetit, ladies." And I'm like, "Bon appetit." Oh my God, he's so, because it was also his first day on set. So I was like, "Oh my God, he's so cute. Wait, what?" And then to her, not even thinking about what, I was just like using my mouth. I was like, "I'd bon appetit him." And I didn't realize it sounded like I'd bon him. And so the laugh that we share in there, that was only one take that I did that, but they used it because we just couldn't stop laughing. We couldn't believe I just said that. It was, you know, it was one of those things. And so there's a lot of those little things, especially in the scenes with me and Lily, as we became comfortable with each other. We knew how to work off each other. Yeah.
It's true. We got so lucky. God.
You know, it really was a very special experience in that everybody from the States, we were all living and working together in Paris. And the French crew were so just like committed, warm, wanted to really show us their love for the city. And it really did feel like a family while we were there. It was just a, you know, very special and unique chemistry between all of us. And I think that the cast really hung out together. They were friends, and I think that sort of camaraderie and chemistry just, I think it translated into the show.
Yeah, I mean, that's a testament to, I think that's why we're all so grateful to Darren, because he brought us all together. But I think because the story is so genuine of heart and smart, that attracts the certain kind of people. I always think a project attracts certain kinds of people. And for me, you know, I don't want to say it's because of me or anything, but I do know that I went to Paris with no friends and being like, I'm going to build a home and a community for myself, as I've done on Broadway. You know, I moved to New York City without any of that either. And because I'm used to the theater world, where even if you don't have a scene with somebody, you're rehearsing from 10 to 6 all together. When you're doing a Broadway show, I could not have a scene with someone, but I'm sharing a building with someone for 4 hours every single day. And so I'm so used to my workplace being my family and my personal, so I don't know any other way to do that, to do a show, but to do that. So when I came to Paris, really, I mean, it's hilarious. Some of my best friends in this show, I don't have a single scene with. And we were all like roommates, and you know, and Lily and I just got so close so fast. And it was just, I think it's because it comes from the top down, and when everybody's just giving and supporting, then everyone feels like they've been supported. And it's also like Paris, and like the French castmates were truly my Mindies, because it being my first time in Paris, I was truly Emily in Paris. And so everything that happens to her, all the questions she has, I luckily had amazing guides with Luca and Samuel and Camille.
Fingers crossed.
You tell that.
We would love it. We would love it.
I mean, I also, because I want to know what happens with Gabrielle and Emily and Camille, and Mindy just moved in and she just got a new job. I want to know what happens. So I hope so as a viewer.
Nice to meet you. Fingers crossed.